Hi, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you're joining us. My name is Amir Bar. I'm the UN Energy Program Manager in SE for All. Before we start, I just wanted to let you know that this meeting is recorded. And I've spoken with many of you actually on this webinar today when you were deciding to join this compact. So it's great to see so many of your familiar faces today with us. And I'm also happy to see many new faces. I just learned that we are now a group of 114 signatories. And I'm glad that this group is representing more and more many different sectors from all around the world. As you know, UN Energy, together with SE for All, launched this compact during the high-level dialogue on energy during the General Assembly in September 2021. And at the time, there were just a dozen of signatories. And the positive response that we've received from you all is really amazing. We have a clear objective. We've all come together to create a movement to eliminate carbon from the electricity sector entirely. This is a much more direct way to address the problem. And by this, we don't mean to only get masses to procure 24/7 CFE. This compact is really about getting the grids to 24/7 CFE, and that is how we can get to the masses as quickly as possible. Given the urgency on climate, the UN is firmly supportive of this compact. And with the Climate Ambition Summit hosted by the Secretary General this September, we have a huge milestone for all of us working towards. We heard it clearly from most of you last year that we need to create a meeting place for you all to forge partnerships, to have conversations around policies, market structure, innovation that needs to happen to drive 24/7 CFE. And I'm glad that today we are launching the community platform for our signatories. We have an exciting agenda, starting with a panel discussion before going into a tutorial on how to use the community platform. And with that, I would like to introduce my colleague, Irina, who is the senior specialist in SE for All and our moderator for the panel discussion. I'll leave it to that, and thank you all. Looking forward to our exciting work with you all this year. Irina, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Amir. Good morning and good afternoon as well, everyone from my side. It's my pleasure to welcome you on this panel discussion, which will look into innovation and opportunities from the 24/7 carbon-free energy community. We are really excited to have such a distinguished group of speakers with us today. They will share their insights, their experiences on how we can accelerate together that transition to fully decarbonized power systems. That discussion will also be a glimpse into our exciting community, one which will be able to connect with each other through the community platform. And we will hear more about that from our colleague Noura in the second half of the workshop. But since we have only 45 minutes and we want to leave some time at the end for Q&A and key takeaways, let me introduce our great panelists that are here with us today and kick off the discussion. So let me start with introducing Irene Scola. She's a director of energy and buildings at C40. Welcome with us. John Hansen, business development executive at Power Ledger. Welcome to you as well. Leanne Broadbent, business development manager and 24/7 energy lead for SSE Energy Solutions. Liang Ming, managing director of Bits and Watts Initiative and Net Zero Alliance at Stanford University. And Giacomo Bravaccini is the marketing manager at FlexiDAO. Again, welcome to all of you. And I will jump to the first question and presentation of Irene. Let me maybe start discussing a bit C40 that launched a new program on carbon-free energy for cities together with Google last year, if I'm not mistaken, right? And this is a really first of a kind program, I will say, because it's looking on supporting city to explore 24/7, but also to enable residents, which is very important to benefit from the clean energy transition. And I think the role of prosumers is more and more relevant around the globe for the just and inclusive energy transition. So, Irene, what do you think are the key challenges that cities face when it comes to implementation of 24/7? And how do you think the community platform that we are launching today may help address some of those challenges? Thank you.
Thank you, Irina, and hi to everyone, and hi to my fellow panelists, and thank you for inviting us to this very interesting session. So the challenges cities face to move to 24/7 carbon-free energy are multiple, but they're very willing to follow this approach to accelerate the transition to cleaner energy systems. The challenges are around many topics like data, lack of available data to be able to demonstrate that they are actually moving towards accelerated 24/7 carbon-free energy grids. It's about technology. Is the technology there to be able to help this transition to happen? It's about infrastructure. The most important that cities are, let's say, worried about is policy and governance. Do they have the powers to accelerate this transition to 24/7 carbon-free energy? And if they don't, what can they do within these powers to advocate for it? And it's also about finance. When we look at 24/7 at the city level, it's very complex. We're talking, especially in C40, our cities are mega cities of the world with many, many inhabitants and many, many systems that need to be supplied and used, and supply the energy and use energy. And if we're talking about 24/7 real time, this can be very, very complicated. So it requires also a significant amount of investment. Accelerating to clean energy requires a huge amount of investment in the first place, let alone 24/7 carbon-free energy. How the community platform can help, it gives a lot of opportunities to cities, the cities of our networks, but beyond our network, to work with other stakeholders and closely together and exchange views on how they can accelerate this transition. We know that cities cannot achieve this challenge alone. It's impossible, but also businesses in the private sector cannot achieve that alone without cities. So this platform gives the opportunity for better collaboration between those sectors. I started by answering your question, Irina, and then I will say a bit more about the program. I hope that's okay with you, because I found it really interesting to start with that.
That's completely fine. Thanks a lot, Irene. In the meantime, we uploaded your presentation, so feel free to go ahead with this as well. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I will just continue from what I've just said, and I just want to give a very brief overview of what this program you just told everyone here is about. If we can move to the first slide. Very quickly, I don't exactly know who is in the audience, but just as a reminder that C40 is a network of almost 100 world-leading cities that work together to fight climate change and increase cities' resilience to it. So we work with them, together with them, and we support them in any way we can to support, let's say, a just transition to better cities of the world, which are also fully decarbonized in all terms. So next slide, please. Why we advocate for accelerated clean energy systems, and some of it has been introduced by people here. We know that the energy we use in our cities, and just as a reminder, the cities consume 70% of world energy. The energy we use in our cities is mainly produced by fossil fuels, which is the biggest emitter of greenhouse gas emissions. And as I said before, we know that nobody can achieve any 1.5 compliant trajectory if we do not work together. So what we all recognize that needs to be done is a massive expansion of renewable energy systems, obviously, and a more efficient use of energy. So these are the facts. Cities are key players to this transition because they are big data consumers. They can act as facilitators for the private sector. They can provide a safe space for investors to come and invest on carbon-free energy systems. They can work with stakeholders and national governments to do so. And just to highlight, the 24/7 carbon-free energy approach is a paradigm shift in how cities think about electricity demand and supply. As of today, most of the cities do this yearly accounting of, we use this energy and we, let's say, acquire clean energy through, for example, our purchase agreements or even worse, offsets. But looking at having 24/7 carbon-free energy all year round It's challenging, but we are certain that this will lead to accelerated grid decarbonization activities. We know that cities have a key role to play in this game. So next slide, please. In October 2022, we launched this program with the kind support of Google, where we're working with our cities to see how this approach can be applied in a city context. We first launched a white paper, and after my presentation, I will share it in the chat, where we analyze what does 24/7 mean in a city? What does it mean? So we analyzed all the approaches, and we also analyzed the challenges that cities are facing across data, technology, infrastructure, policy, and governance. We use cities typologies to be able to do that more correctly across the 100 cities of our network. And we identified also which are the key opportunities for moving ahead with 24/7. On top of this, we're working with proof of concept pilots, and I will say a few words about them at the end of my presentation, where we try to take the findings of the white paper and apply them in real life. Can this, what the white paper showed, can this actually be applied in a city landscape? Is this true? It is what is needed to be done to accelerate this transition. If we can move to the next slide. It's really important to keep in mind about the shift in thinking when we're talking about 24/7. It's different to apply 24/7 on a building portfolio, not let alone a single building, and completely different to apply this across all cities, all meters in a city. Very, very, very complicated process, but I'm sure that if private sector and public sector work together, can be achieved. Can we move to the next slide, please? The recommendations of our white paper, which I think is the most interesting part after all the analysis we did, is that there are 6 recommendations we propose to all cities, especially our cities, to follow if they want to go ahead with this approach. The one is to improve energy supply and demand data management and analysis. As I said, one of the challenges is that cities do not have data. The data they need, they do have data, but not the data they need to progress with this approach. That's why the collaboration is even more needed. They need first to prioritize energy efficiency to reduce the citywide demand, because sometimes we're here, we need to accelerate the carbon-free energy systems. We first need to reduce the demand so that we have the carbon-free energy systems we need to meet this demand, which these things need to happen in parallel. It's not only the supply side that needs to be resolved, but equally important is the demand side. They also need to electrify end uses. If we're talking about 24/7 carbon-free grids, we're talking also about the people and the residents to be able to use these grids. So that's only possible if the end uses like transport and buildings are electrified. If we are continue to use other types of energy that it's separated from the grid, obviously, even if we have 24/7 carbon-free electric, when we say energy, we mean electricity systems, this will not lead to carbon neutral cities. The fourth is to increase grid flexibility and load shifting opportunities, because we know that we need to make sure that the supply and demand are matched, especially at the hours that carbon-free energy is available. Create a positive environment for private sector investment. Obviously, the investors do not want to invest in projects that in unstable environments, politically and not politically unstable. So they need to show a signal to the market that they're willing to play this game. And obviously, they're fully responsible for developing structures for stakeholder collaboration and private sector engagement. And this facilitator role is one of the most important that cities have in this discussion. Next slide, and I think final slide. So the 3 pilots we're working on are with 3 of our biggest cities in the network. It's London, Paris, and Copenhagen. And very few words, London, who has very high, very ambitious targets in terms of net zero carbon emissions, is working on how demand side flexibility can help them improve the 24/7 carbon-free energy score citywide, because they're willing to launch programs that will allow private users to participate in this transaction and help and make sure that everyone benefits for 24/7 carbon-free energy throughout the year. We don't have the results, and we will disseminate the results of these pilots later in the year, and also happy to share it in an event like this, but we'll also host some more, let's say, open events, some of them in person. The second is Paris. Paris is working, has also very ambitious targets, and one of the key actions they have is to run completely 100% renewables by 2050 citywide. Another action they have is the full electrification of transport. So what we're working on with Paris is this increased demand that will derive from the electrification of transport, how it can be, let's say, addressed with only 100% renewable energy 24/7. They have more ambitious targets than just carbon-free. So how electrification of transport can be met by 100% renewable 24/7 carbon-free energy supply. And the third is Copenhagen, who is looking at doing a power purchase procurement to cover all the municipal demand in the first place. Now, as you know, Denmark is one of the countries that has one of the highest carbon-free mixes. Still, the CFE score of Copenhagen is low, if you believe that or not. So they're planning on doing a power purchase agreement in which we will have incorporate 24/7 carbon-free energy elements. So the supplier would need to prove that they supply carbon-free energy 24/7. Thank you. I think that's all my intervention. I was on time. I'll try to speak fast, Irina.
Thank you very much. You were on time, and it was a very interesting discussion. I think you touch upon important points that we should always keep in mind when we discuss about 24/7 and in general about energy transition, to put the people first. So the importance of the demand side, it shouldn't be neglected, but also that prosumers will be the real element to really implement the energy transition, especially when it comes to cities, to make them carbon free. And then also you touch upon flexibility of the grids, and I think it's really the basic when it comes to including much more renewable energy from renewables. Thank you very much. And just to ensure to all the people that was asking, the presentation will be available on the website. So we will share the presentation from Irene that it's very successful. And now linking Irene's presentation to the next presentation from John. We just discussed cities, John, but hourly locational certificates are also important for smaller business and municipalities to participate in the renewable energy market. Maybe from Power Ledger, you can give us some example of how your technology has been used to enable 24/7 clean energy in a specific project or in a specific location. Over to you, John. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. And thank you, Irene, for your tremendous presentation on C40 as well. So yes, the granular certificates is only one part actually of what Power Ledger can help to enable in the 24/7 CFE space. So I'll just kind of go through a few things here. Let me make sure that my slide is going. All right, there we go. So just to give a little quick introduction. So we are a global blockchain-enabled clean energy software developer. We are deploying solutions worldwide. We actually need to update this map a little bit because there are a number of countries that are not listed on there that we're already engaged in. And our audacious mission is to digitize, decentralize, decarbonize, and democratize energy. And the way we do that, we have a sort of a solution set, a stack of different solutions that we can apply. One of those is related to hourly energy attribute certificates. And so I'll just kind of walk through this because the whole solution set is about granularity. And so there are different levels of granularity that you can get to with different things. First, what I'd like to do is highlight that we are a blockchain-enabled software developer. And that allows us to really manage a lot of amazing data and to create marketplaces, really high volumes of data with trust and transparency, immutability, et cetera. And so we can track and trace granular energy and environmental attributes, emissions, et cetera, at a granular level, and aggregate that data, analyze that data, provide visualizations for decision making, reporting, all these kind of things that get enabled. Also transaction settlements and things like that for the transactive platforms that we have, the marketplaces, smart contracts, et cetera. Now, the way we leverage that in one of the first tools, actually, the way I should frame it is in the ability to aggregate an organization's consumption, its energy and emissions data. And that is really critical. So you can actually have a baseline from which to work on. You know what you're really consuming and really producing and what your emissions are. So we have a vision tool which is this tool right here, which is the data layer, we like to call it. And what that does is it aggregates the data from your consumption, sources of consumption, preferably meters, but we can integrate and get data from other sources as well, integrate that into dashboards for visibility, which I'll show you in a second, that allows for control over an organization's energy portfolio and emissions profile to be able to see what it is that you're dealing with and look at solutions to achieve your decarbonization objectives, identify energy gaps and surpluses and manage procurement, et cetera. Then in addition to that data, which is really critical, we then create marketplaces. Those marketplaces send market signals and they enable grid decarbonization and resiliency, and they increase access to both clean, affordable energy and also asset ownership. So turning people into prosumers and also increasing the return, the payback on that as well. Again, all of this is granular. And so we do transactive energy, peer-to-peer, vehicle to X. We also do grid optimization, which is more in the distribution system operators space, where we've got the marketplaces for the optimization of distributed energy, so that you can then decarbonize the grid, increase that resiliency, as I mentioned before, through flexibility marketplaces and also local energy marketplaces. And then I think getting directly to what you were talking about granularity, the hourly certificates, that's something we're actively enabling through TraceX, which is our environmental commodities platform. It's a commodity agnostic platform. We are, however, deploying renewable energy certificate marketplaces currently that have tools ready to be deployed for hourly marketplaces, hourly certificate marketplaces. So really quickly, again, just to highlight, this is sort of the dashboards for our vision tool. Again, looking at that hourly granularity to enable 24/7 decision making, where an organization, whether it's public, private, government, academic, whatever it might be, can actually aggregate its entire portfolio or look at it at a granular level from individual meters, to be able to identify the non-renewable portion of its load, and then be able to make procurement decisions about that. Do we want to do PPAs? Do we want to increase our green retail, or whatever the scenario may be? Do we need to do offsets? And so it can link up also to other marketplaces to be able to address those issues. What I think is the most interesting about this, again, for multinational companies as well as for single entities can all use this platform, and again drill down into the individual sites and the individual meters to look at that performance on a carbon-free measurement. So what is the percentage of carbon-free energy, so they can make those decisions. Again, what I was going to say is that the most interesting thing to me is that this allows organizations to build their capacity, to build their experience around their energy profile, their consumption, also their on-site generation, et cetera, to have data sets that they can make realistic decisions based on, and then also to build up those hourly load profiles that enable 24/7 carbon-free energy decision-making. And that's really key, because if you don't have the information, you can't make good decisions. And so that's really critical. And then these tools can be leveraged in partnership with the other solutions that I noted earlier in our solution stack, to be able to refine and improve and optimize beyond hourly energy as well. So TraceX Commodity, environmental commodity platform, again, it's the first fully automated digital marketplace for transparent and efficient trading of all types of energy attributes. Again, we're tooling it for renewable energy certificates right now and have launched in North America. IREC, we're integrating with, and we're developing something in ASEAN right now as well. In addition to all these sort of values and benefits right here, again, what I wanted to highlight in the 24/7 context is that we already have the tools designed and are waiting for the hourly certificates to be created. And we will then be able to deploy those tools on the marketplace for organizations to be able to start transacting at an hourly level with renewable energy certificates. Some examples of 24/7 application. This is a retailer that we work with in France, Equateur, where they have shared or passed through some of the vision features onto their residential and commercial customers, so that their customers can actually see their load profile, see where their non-renewable hourly load is, and be able to choose on a map to be able to choose the specific renewable energy assets on the map that they wish to offset their non-renewable load with. So it gives them that decision to go 24/7. And it's a combination of using the visibility tool, the vision tool, combined with our XGrid tool with a little bit of customization for PPA fractionalization on an hourly level. And then we do have some other examples of some really interesting projects on the peer-to-peer side, which also includes some of the environmental commodities trading and other vision features as well. In Thailand, we have a couple of interesting projects where we have multiple consumers and prosumers in a trading network, where they are trading excess energy with each other. That includes both PV and also storage. And they've got the trading network that is optimizing the assets in that location, again, on that distribution system. This results in, again, more energy access, more affordable energy, and also better returns for the prosumers, those who own the assets, as well as having access to clean energy and affordable energy below the grid price. For those consumers, the non-generating partners on that trading network, to be able to do that. We also have a project in Chiang Mai University, which is a smart city project for the university, which includes the energy tracking and matching, peer-to-peer trading, the carbon footprint and intensity tracking, and also includes EV charging and batteries as well. Again, what it's doing is optimizing at a more granular level than hourly. It's optimizing the distribution system and those networks, whether they're microgrids or if they are actually cross-grid as well. In India, we're doing some really interesting work expanding these peer-to-peer, this energy access through peer-to-peer trading networks. And it actually provides, again, more affordable energy, access to clean energy, and also improves asset ownership. So it creates equity as well for communities. And one of the interesting things about this is through our peer-to-peer engagements, really trying to deploy 24/7 solutions within India. We've worked with Uttar Pradesh and a number of other states, but Uttar Pradesh is the key interesting one, I think, where we have worked with the regulatory authorities in the state, and they have changed the legislation to actually allow for peer-to-peer trading throughout the entire state. And this is something that is about to be replicated in other states as well. And I think I'll leave it there. That's, I think, quite a bit, and I hope I didn't go too much over time.
Thank you so much, John. It was very interesting. And I think it really gives a glimpse on how the 24/7 movement is really global, because you brought example from Southeast Asia, Thailand, India, how that also accelerated change in the regulatory system, which is very positive. And now it's about transparency, granularity, but also accountability. And then again, the key role for the prosumers. Thank you very much. Sure. We will go now to the next speaker, Lian, on SSE Energy. So, Lian, your organization provides access to green energy straight from the UK wind farms, right? Also to business and to local customers. So it's playing, again, a major role when it comes to the consumer-led energy system. How do you think your organization is working to enable 24/7 clean energy for its customers? And what do you think the role of our community may play in these efforts? Over to you, Lian.
Hi. Thank you for inviting us to sort of take part in this panel discussion, which we're really excited about. By way of context, for those that aren't aware who SSE is, we are a leading generator, as Irina said, of renewable electricity. and one of the largest electricity network companies in the UK. So what that means is we develop and we own and we operate low carbon infrastructure to support that zero carbon transition. We've got 4 gigawatts of onshore, offshore, wind and hydro assets, and the electricity transmission and distribution grid. And we also do have efficient gas-fired generation, which is the flexible assets that we still need within the GB market. And SSE, it's very proud to state that its purpose is to provide the energy needed today, but by building the better world of energy for tomorrow. And that's our stated purpose. And our strategy is net zero centric. It's at the heart of what we do across all of our businesses. And the headlines tend to focus on the big numbers. You know, we state facts like we're spending on average £7 million a day on increasing our renewable energy output. We've committed by 2030 to increase our renewable energy output 5-fold. So the target of producing 50 terawatt hours in the UK. We're building the largest offshore wind farm. We're investing 5 billion in transmission and distribution. And these are all the big numbers and, you know, the world's largest blah, 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 that tends to kind of dominate the SSE marketing campaign. But we are an energy solutions provider, and whilst that is a smaller part of the business, make no mistake that with all of those big asset projects, it's very clear that the customer solutions business is the route to market, and it's very critical to enable SSE to make these big investments, which will green the network at the highest level. So we are supplying products and services to consumers and businesses in domestic consumers and businesses in Ireland and businesses in the UK. In GB, we're supplying over 500,000 meter points. And we're proud of our green tariffs. So we are one of the suppliers in the UK where we can stand and behind a statement that our green tariffs are backed by electricity from our assets as well as renewable certificates from our assets. And we know that that is not the case for all green products at the moment. And so we're really pushing for that. But we recognise that that is not enough. It's worked for the last 20 years to get investment in renewable assets, but we need to go the next stage. And that's where 24/7 comes in. And we talk a lot about the energy transition and the transition to net zero. But let's not forget, when we talk about transition, you need to, as John was highlighting and Irene before, you have to know where you're starting from. You know, we can all band around transition, but transition from what? Where are we today? And there's a lot of exciting stuff that we're working on within SSE. So our sister business, Distributed Energy, which works at city level, it works at sectorial level, say with universities or ports, so very sort of themed. It will be offering whole energy solutions, and they will be looking at shifting demand, energy efficiency, building energy management systems, installing solars and battery heat networks and all of those things. And actually what they're doing is they're working, and we've been working with them, with some of our customers that have electricity supply contracts, to say, well, actually, what is the truth today? So what is your carbon intensity in any half hour? And we're taking that data and we're mapping that, because that's helping customers know, where am I today and what choices do I need to make to green the future? So what can I do to transition to 24/7, or at least know I may not get there and it may take me a while to get there, but let's be honest about what we have. And then on the other side, within particularly something I'm working on at the moment, we've got a trial with granular energy in the UK. So that's the platform that's being developed for granular certificates, so to encourage the market to move from REGOs to timestamp certificates, and something that will enable the market to move in that direction. And so again, we're beginning to look at what the contract structures might be. So I work quite closely with corporate PPAs, and we, as we all know, it's annual accounting, and our customers can make some nice statements about either purchased 100% renewable energy, but actually they know that that's not enough on an annual basis, and they want to see what they can do to move that forward. And so, as well as making those investments, they really want to be able to publicly own that statement, and having sort of a certificated regime, granular certificates, will help them do that. And it's making us think, well, as I say, we're working very closely with Granular and beginning to think actually, what does our product suite look like? So we may have classically gone for a corporate PPA that's linked to a wind farm, but actually we're starting to think, is a basket of assets more appropriate? And actually, you know, how would we do that? And how would you commercially offer that? You know, all certificates are not equal, and we need to sort of reflect that in our product offering. So yeah, in summary, to echo what's been said before, for us it's very much about bringing transparency to the discussion, recognizing what the baseline is today. We all know where we want to get to, but we really need that information, and we need to have the products, solutions and services available to help customers on that journey.
Thank you very much, Leanne. I think you really wrap up your presentation very nicely. I don't have to do it, but I think it's important that this demand is coming more and more from customers. The need of transparency, the need of data and certificates that really show what are the consumption, what are the needs, and where are we starting, where are we going as well. This is very important. Let's go now to the next presenter. The time is running very fast. We still have two panelists with us. Liang Ming, I will now ask one question to you, focusing on Stanford, that has already completed a transition to 100% renewables electricity in March last year, right? However, you want to go also a step further than that, and your challenge at the moment is to match the electricity consumption with all carbon-free resources at all hours of the year. So a big challenge ahead. One project that you are currently leading on, it's Stanford University 24/7 carbon-free electrified bus fleet. Can you maybe tell us a bit more about these or any other projects that have allowed Stanford to increase reliance on locally produced carbon-free energy? Over to you. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Arina. Can you see my slides? All good?
Yeah, we can see very well. Thank you.
Okay, find them wonderful. So I think before I go to the specific case of Stanford, because I'm from academia, so I'd like to lay down some foundations. Right? The first is the foundation, the difference between carbon neutral versus 100% renewable energy. Right? And when we started this 24/7 carbon-free electrified fleet project last spring, and we realized there's about 200, actually about 160 companies around the world has committed to match their annual electricity consumption with 100% renewable energy. Okay. But that target is not nearly as impactful as what we are talking here, which is a 24/7 carbon-free energy. That's why. Why is the difference actually is magnified as we face the increasing challenge of integrating additional renewables into the grid. Be more specific, as many of you may heard what we talk about resource adequacy in California. We talk about the reliability market. That's a very hot topic in Texas. And also, you know, the energy crisis happening in China, in UK, in Australia. And we ask ourselves why. The why is because renewables, we call it intermittent or variable generation. They're not there 24/7. And when we deploy more and more renewables, we retire fossil-based generation. And we are also retiring what we call the firm capacity. So the grid, in order to accommodate more renewables, we need more clean firm capacity. Right? Because we are facing the same problem. The problem is when a company in California, for instance, has exceed of solar or renewables in a very sunny midday, and they are not able to sell the exceed energy to the grid because everybody else has the same opportunity because they also have exceed solar. Right? But during night, when the company has insufficient renewables in the evening, they draw the power from grid. Everybody doing the same thing. Therefore, matching hourly energy consumption with carbon-free electricity is very essential for us to completely or directly eliminate emissions associated with electricity usage. Okay, and now I'm kind of lay down the foundation, then give you a little bit of fact about the Stanford energy system. So as Arena mentioned, we have achieved 100% clean electricity almost a year ago on annual basis. Okay, and we have about 8,000 acres of land and about 30,000 daily population, and has 10,000 students and faculty member researchers. They stay at the campus, and our peak load is about 65 to 70 megawatt. It's divided by two parts. The whole campus is fully electrified. We have a very unique system. We call it different names, and very often you will read the name from news, which is called the Central Energy Facility. And this is a district cooling and the thermal system. And the peak load for this system is basically supply the heat and the cooling to the whole campus, all the buildings we have. It's about 50 megawatt. And the rest of the electricity usage for the campus is about between 30 to 50 megawatt. So that's a consumption part. On the generation part, we have a 5 megawatt rooftop solar on campus. And we have two central solar facility in Southern and Central California. And one is a 54 megawatt in Southern California. And last spring, when we achieved with this second generation of solar station, we achieved 100% clean electricity. And that station alone has a 63 megawatt solar plus another 200 megawatt, 500 megawatt hours energy storage. So that's the energy system we have at Stanford. But that's not hourly carbon neutral. It's on annual basis. Yes, the reason is we are still plugged into the PG&E power grid, and we still utilize the grid electricity. And we have not implemented the advanced control algorithms to really match hourly consumption with the renewable supplies. And by seeing that, I want to lay down a second foundation, which is anytime we do the 24/7, we need to ask ourselves, what's the emission signal you use to count for the 24/7? Because I'm from academia, so there's a different counting methods for the carbon emission. I just laid down some of them. And actually within Stanford, we already have 3 different groups. They're working on 3 different methods. If you look at the literature, there are tons of them. Right? But if anybody interested on the scope 2, which on the consumption based, and you can go to the website, energy.stanford.edu/grid emissions, you will see the real-time hourly CO2 emission in the United States by each control areas. Okay, and this is fully open innovation. By seeing that it's open methodology, you can see all the methods we used for the paper below, which is written by our 2 faculty members, Jack Schellinger and also Sally Benson. And it's open source, and we put on the GitHub. Anybody can reproduce the results, use the original source code. And also you have the website, you are able to directly link your API with any application you want. But this is based on what I call the average emission. Average emission are calculated from the hourly total emission from all dispatched generator in each hour at each hour. And there's another very common and interesting terminology we call the marginal emission. So before I go to the details, I want to show you some signals. So the purple one bottom is average emission, and the red curve here is marginal emission. So marginal emission is very intermittent, and the people will ask why. Okay, so why is the following? Basically, we have to understand how the electricity grid is operating in the United States, in majority of the developing countries, in European and in other regions. Also true in many developing countries, is based on the economic dispatch order for the generators. Right. For instance, if you increase 1 megawatt load, what is the cheapest generator in order to supply this load is a marginal. So all the electricity price in well-established energy market, we call the locational marginal price. So it's a marginal price. So from emission perspective, it's the same thing. We have called a marginal emission. Marginal emission is a measure of the change in greenhouse gas emission resulting from specific change in activity, such as increase the electricity consumption or the production of additional unit of the products or the goods. So there's a difference. But the fundamental is, if we want to do the 24/7, we have to have an open, transparent emission signal to drive any control algorithm you plan to use to achieve the 24/7 mission. Okay. I don't know how much time I take, but I mean, as I said, I'm from academia. I'd like to lay down some foundations, make sure that there's no confusion in the future. In terms of transportation, so Stanford total have about 52 buses, and the 38 of them are fully electrified. And we started the transportation electrification project almost 10 years ago. And right now, our total electrified miles has reached close to 5 million miles, and it's roughly about 4.7 millions. Okay. And this is a real data, and one of our PhD student, senior PhD student, Gustavo Cesar, produced this curve, and here showing the following information. The blue curve here is basically bus charging. So you will see a very interesting and also very common charging pattern on almost all the campus electrified buses. Basically in the morning, and all the buses are very busy, ship the students, faculty around the campus. Around the 8 or 9, they done their job, they start to charging. Then during lunchtime, again, another rush hour, send the students to the restaurant, to the cafeteria. Then they done the job, they go back, and in the early afternoon, go to charge. And in the early evening, around 6 p.m., 7 p.m., they done their night shift, they go back to charge. So if you look at the charging, majority of charging happen during nighttime and also around daytime. That's kind of two peak. Right. Then let's lay down our solar. So we have a 2 megawatt solar just next to the bus charging station. So that's a solar production. Everybody will understand this very well. Solar produced during daytime. Then we ask ourselves, how about nighttime? And when the bus charge, what is electrical grid emission would look like? This is also very well understand, because during daytime, the California grid is very clean, relatively clean. The emission is very low. But during nighttime, we still have a lot of fossil-based generation on the system. So it's a little bit high. So, I mean, the project for us is really have two objectives. One is optimize the cost and the emissions. And the second is to deploy and optimize the storage. So there are 3 steps we do. And the first is we predict what is the grid emission would look like. We utilize 3 different methods. One is the previous we showed the consumption-based method. And the second is emission methods. And the third one is if you go to California website, California ISO website, you will see they're producing the California grid emission signals as well. We use 3 different methods to drive our control algorithm. And the second is based on the control algorithm, we give the first low-hanging fruit suggestion to the bus drivers and to tell them, hey, they need to change their behavior, try to do more daytime charging. And by doing that, we can shift the tons of daytime and nighttime charging to the daytime, be able to reduce the emission. And the third one, for the part we cannot move, and we deploy energy storage. So we plan to deploy 1 megawatt hour energy storage just next to the charging station in order to shift the nighttime charging to utilize the daytime solar energy to charge the nighttime. So that's the project we have here. And I want to thank the team because I do majority of the talking, but actually the most of the job done by the students on the second row here, and also Gustavo Cisa is the project manager for the whole project. And just a quick summarize what I want to see here. In order to achieve the 24/7, we need 3 things. One is transparent, open carbon emission signals. And the second is really understand the customer, have a multi-objective optimization and control algorithms, because decarbonization is important, but the cost also important. A third one, the benefit of 24/7 is really increase the resilience. For the folks living in the East Coast, Northeast, and I'm in California, we all suffer the outage caused by different extreme events, right? And this 24/7 will help. And the last but not least is really the technology, the hardware itself. We do need the storage. When we love renewables, I always say we have to love storage. Then storage is more than just a battery. We also need to look into other things like long duration energy storage and how they can be plugged into this 24/7 mission. Okay, I think back to you, Arina.
Thank you so much, Yang. It was very interesting, and I think you underlined all the key points: transparency, and also the cost, it's important, and the resilience. I think this will be very well received also from my colleagues from FlexiDAO. They are currently now running the FlexiDAO Academy. So probably you may think of having someone like Dr. Liang from Stanford University as one of your lecturers at the Academy. Giacomo, let me jump to you. As I said, FlexiDAO is working amazing things on software for companies to reach net zero and to really understand what is the true CO2 content every hour of the day. And as I just said, you also launched successfully the 24/7 Academy, which is tailored for professionals. They want to understand more what is 24/7 and how you can achieve it concretely. So Giacomo, question for you. How can technology innovators like your company help and work with policymakers and regulators to create an enabling environment for 24/7 solutions to be effective? Thank you.
Thank you, Irina, and to all the other panelists and their insightful presentation. Well, FlexiDAO's tools and services are very much linked to our generally collaborative spirit with the stakeholder that you have just mentioned. We have been active lately collaborating with policymakers, think tanks, and standard setters worldwide through our partners, such as the European 24/7 Hub. More specifically, we advocate for defining true and fair renewable hydrogen guidelines in Europe and are set to do the same for the US. On the other hand, we have been vocal about the greenhouse gas protocol revision, which will potentially be the base for several reporting regulations, including the corporate sustainability reporting standards in Europe and the Security and Exchange Commission proposal in the US. Well, both activities are strictly related to 24/7 movement, as in both cases, an increased time resolution and fairer geographical boundaries included in the regulation or the guidance would be game changer regarding the decarbonization impact of these regulation or standards. So to summarize, as a solution and advisory service provider for 24/7 carbon-free energy, we use our prominent position within the energy and sustainability ecosystem to offer an end-to-end platform enabling suppliers and buyers adoption of 24/7 carbon-free energy. In the next slide, we can see that thanks to all the insight collected through years of relevant partnerships with our clients on both demand and supply sides, we can define a 24/7 buyer journey. Now, I want to clarify that this journey can change from company to company, but here it goes. So as you mentioned, the first step, Irina, is to build and promote the business case for 24/7 within an organization, right? So you need to learn what 24/7 is, why to adopt it, and how to get started. Then the next step is understanding where you are with your existing contracts in terms of the hourly match between your contract, your asset that generate your power, and your load. And using the outcome of this analysis, this preliminary analysis, you start actually planning the next step, which is the strategy step. And then after this step, you trigger the iterative process of procuring new 24/7 clean power and monitor the performance of it while you are filling the existing carbon intensive gaps. And the last step, is certifying the hourly match between the generation of your existing contracts and your load, following the energy tag standard for hourly certification. Well, in the following slide, we can see, as we have developed, well, we are still developing also some part of it, a suite of solutions that actually follow this journey, and actually turn it in 24/7 CFE into a feasible, fair, and trustworthy energy strategy that builds upon current annual procurement practice, and it's not disruptive with them. Just to enter in a bit more of detail into the product. So as you can see, the Academy is an underlying service that we offer for every kind of forward-looking professional to learn about 24/7. And then we have CFE Diagnostic, which is a web app that helps buyers to understand their current performance in terms of hourly match in a few clicks. Basically, we help them argue their position on next generation procurement strategies such as 24/7 through this data-driven tool. So basically, it's something that helps them understand their position even before making an investment and allocating budget. So it's something that helps them to justify the next moves. And then we shift to CFE Inventory, which is basically a granular Scope 2 monitoring and inventory management. It adds to efficientize your Scope 2 reporting, so the emission coming from the purchased energy, and it does it whether you stick to annual reporting or you are evolving to next generation methods such as 24/7 carbon-free energy. And then we have, well, we will have very soon, so stay tuned, CFD optimization, which helps to assess and compare different option scenarios to improve the current CFD score, so to fill the existing fossil fueled hours. And then we will have CFE procurement, which is a tool that helps scouting, negotiate, and sign CFE procurement contracts. In the next slide, I brought to you a case study that actually it's together with one signatory of the compact, and it's a big pleasure for us to collaborate with other signatories of the compact. And it's a case study where we help Iron Mountain data center to match one of their green contracts in the UK across the whole spectrum of their facilities in the UK. So 59 facilities between offices and data centers. And we partnered with them and their energy supplier, in this case, ENGIE. And we assigned energy attribute certificates from specific carbon-free energy assets and attached to the hourly production data. And this is helping Iron Mountain to actually monitor the performance on the contract and eventually plan next steps toward the improvement of their carbon-free energy core. But also, we believe that this position can help to position all companies as sustainable leaders and it's something that helps them to take a clear stand in the matter of sustainability in the energy space. I believe it's the last slide, and I have another slide, which is a call to action for you all. As we mentioned, we have an academy, so I invite you to sign up. Type www.academy.flexidout.com. But also, we mentioned the CFE diagnostic web app. So I invite you, especially buyers, to have a free proof of concept and start and build your business case for 24/7 CFE. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Giacomo. I think it was very useful to see how with FlexiDAO you can really build a 24/7 carbon-free energy journey. So you really support step by step. And now with the Knowledge Academy, even further to understand what that entails and how it can be implemented in real terms. So thank you very much. Unfortunately, we're running out of time, so we don't have time for questions. Most of the questions that we reply in the chat are ready by the staff. But I still, before moving to the next part of the discussion, which will be on our platform, because I would like to remind that today we are kicking off the 24/7 community platform for all the signatories, I would like to please give the floor to my colleague, Sakshi Chandra. She's a UN Energy Engagement Analyst that will wrap up the key takeaways for today before giving to our colleagues, Nora, for the second part of the meeting. Sakshi, over to you.
Thank you so much, Irina, and thank you so much to our wonderful panelists for this really engaging discussion, and also our audience for being very patient and listening through with us as we celebrate the launch today of the Hivebrite 24/7 CFE Community platform. And really, I think there were so many points I could go over, but really the key takeaways and what I heard was the challenges around, lack of available data, power to advocate for clean energy, accessing finance, transparency, flexibility of the grids. Really having importance of a baseline to start from, the fact that 24/7 CFE is also a truly global movement, and it's about affordability as well. Another thing that came up was the importance of the demand side, and that people are at the center of this movement, especially in cities. And finally, the democratization of the energy system. In reference to many of the challenges that were brought up by our panelists, this platform specifically aims to build strong stakeholder collaboration and engagement amongst our signatories. And the idea is that it is a one-stop portal. So what that means is that our signatories can access community resources, network, find useful tools, leads, while also having a space for discussions. This in turn fosters collaboration, innovation, and learning among our signatories, and you can all get to know each other. So with the goal of this inclusive space, my colleague Nora will shortly take us through a live tutorial. I also want to point out that our next workshop will actually be in mid-April, and we will have an Asia Pacific time zone to be more inclusive for signatories in the time zone, and we will revert back with more details soon. Finally, I want to encourage the audience members and organizations who are committed to 24/7 carbon-free energy goal to reach out to us and learn more about the compact and sign up. We're always happy to speak more and get on a call. Moving forward, I would like to introduce my colleague Nora Lee, who's the UN Energy Specialist, and will take us through a live tutorial on how to use the community platform and also make best use of the available features. And finally, this will be followed by a Q&A and closing remarks. So please be a little more patient and stick with us. Thank you so much, and over to you, Nora.
Thank you so much, Sakshi. Hi, everyone. I'm Nora. So great to see everyone here, old friends and new friends. First off, I just want to say a big thank you to all of you for your patience and support for the community platform in the past few months. And finally, I just want to say welcome to this brand new 24/7 carbon-free energy community platform. Okay, so allow me a moment to pull up the screen. I hope you can all see my screen now. As we mentioned earlier, this platform is actually exclusively for you guys, for the signatories only. However, for those of you who are in the audience who are thinking about joining 24/7, I encourage you to also stay with us for the next 10-15 minutes. So we take you through this platform and show you what kind of resources we have and how we're going to communicate with each other on a daily basis. So from now on, this platform is going to be a central location for all of you to collaborate and network. You can discuss specific topics and learn from each other, and also, just simply stay connected with each other. You can make friends here, and it's very easy steps I'm going to walk you through in the next 10-15 minutes, and then afterwards we'll have the Q&A session. However, along the way, if you have questions, please feel free to drop it in the chat box, and I'll come back to those later. Okay, so at this point, all the signatories, I believe you have already received one activation request email from Hivebrite platform, requesting you to log in and start your user platform. If you haven't already done so, please go ahead and find this email, log into your account. Otherwise, you might not be able to receive any email notifications from us. If you cannot find this email, feel free to send me an email, and then I will follow up for you and resend you a new link. Okay, so once you log into your Hivebrite platform, it will automatically take you to this page, your profile. It looks like this, where you can put in all the information about yourself. You can simply edit your profile here. We encourage you to all put a headshot here so that we can match your smile to your names. And the rest is just simple, basic questions. And then also when you go back, here is a section where you can put summaries. And here, if you go to edit, you can not only drop in your email address, but also your LinkedIn and Twitter account. And click on save. Once you have filled in your location, you will see yourself appear on a map here. And then some of you might ask me, is it possible to hide my email from public? It is possible, and I will take you through how to do so in later steps. So bear with me here. And after you complete this page, let's go to live feed. This is very straightforward. It's basically like a Facebook page where all signatories can see your post. You can feel free to share any news with your organization and any upcoming projects or collaboration opportunities. Just drop this in the post area. You can click on the blank space, type up what you want to say, and then you can also insert pictures, a file, a hyperlink. You can add someone here, add emoji if you like. Also, you can notify people by doing so. You can select everybody, or you can do a few targeted outreach, and then just confirm selection and then post. I'm not going to do it here. Okay, and then next page is people. This is probably one of my favorite pages on this platform, where you can see we have this world map here. We can see where our signatories are at. You can search people by clicking on location, or you can search for people here using the search bar. For example, I'm just going to search for Stephen here. Okay, and now once I locate Stephen here, you can see his simple information pop up here on the bottom of the page. You can go to the profile and see more information here. You can send him a message through this button. It's taking a little bit. Okay, but yeah, once you start, this is going to be a private message. You can also follow up the message through this button on the top right corner. Okay. And then let's go back. Here, alternatively, you can also use this button to send someone a message if you like. And with this, I think it's really important to tell you guys that please put all the information as much as possible into your profile, because the more information, the more detail you put it there, the easier for people to find you and also connect with you. And it is very important, to make your profile up to date so that you get the most out from this platform. All right, then let's go to groups. This is a very exciting page. Currently, you can see six groups here. Those groups are based on our 5 principles, enabling energy generation and local procurement and all that. plus green hydrogen, which aims to mobilize partnerships on green hydrogen as a solution for net zero future, and also to discuss the policy required to enabling this technology. Okay, so if you want to learn more about either of those topics, you can click on this to go to the group, and we have a short summary on the side where you are able to read about what this group is about. And I encourage you to take a look and also join as many groups as you want. As you can see, I've already joined all 6 groups. One thing I want to bring to your attention here is we actually need one lead organization for each of those groups. So if you would like to be the lead of this group to manage it, please just reach out to me and I will get back to you. The next question I might get is, what is expected from me if I'm a lead for this group? Very easy. The groups are like sub-communities where you can discuss focused topic-based information in a more private setting. It's basically like a micro ecosystem. And right here, you can see the live feed. It's the same as the big platform where people can post ideas, events, discussions. You can see your members here. It's a small ecosystem. And then here at forum, you can, we would expect the leaders to, hold events here, publish any kind of discussion, debates, and basically just monitor and organize this part. This is the most important part for all the leaders. With that, this is group. I encourage all of you to be very active part of this and start posting articles and topics here. Also, if you have any suggestion to start any new groups, feel free to let us know, and I will actually show you later where you can do so. Jump onto the next page. We have collaboration and opportunities. So here, if you go to this button, publish your opportunity, you will be able to share any sort of collaboration opportunities or even job postings. And if you have a question you would like to engage other people in, feel free to drop it here. And basically just fill in this page and hit submit. Yep, and then you can do keyword search here. Okay, also can search by location where the event is, what time it is. You have more filter here, just like the rest of the platform. Going on to signatures. This page is very similar to people page. Instead, this is a list for all the organizations. You'll be able to, just like people, you can search the organization by name, by location, and other filters. Cool, jumping onto the last page here, community resources. So this page is where you can give us suggestions and comments. This section is actually just the website. And here we have uploaded a toolkit where you can amplify the 24/7 CFE message for us. So I encourage you all to take a look and, if possible, share this on your social media platform and help us to spread the word. And here our friend Sam has very kindly uploaded a quick tutorial on this platform. If you forgot where to find what, feel free to take a look. And remember, I was saying for groups, if you have any suggestions or ideas, feel free to come to this section. Click on this button, it will take you to this Google form. Just list whatever you want to say and send it. This is my email. I will get it and then I'll reply to you right away. So before we close, I also want to take you to the setting on the top right corner. Click on this, and then if we go to privacy, you have all sorts of privacy settings here available to you. Take a look, but the thing I want to point out is here at the email. If you don't want to show your email address to public, feel free to click visible to admin only. And this is not going to stop other people from messaging you. They have that magic button to click. However, if you give it, it will give you a little more privacy. And also you can fix the notifications on what notifications you want to receive, change your password, and then change the language. With that, I think this is it. I wish you all enjoy sharing and connecting and learning. Also, please start using it today. Yeah, we're very excited for this platform. Okay, so now I am going to stop sharing and I will open the floor for questions. If you have any questions, please feel free to raise your hand, or Sakshi, if you can help me, let me know if there's any questions in the chat.
Sure, Nora. I'm just going to call out, and I can just share the questions with you right away.
Yeah, please. You can just share the questions. And in the chat, I see Madhavan, you have your hands up. Do you want to speak up?
Hi, speakers. Good meeting you. I attended the HLDE, high-level program on energy. I was wondering, is this a briefing call for that particular UN event, or is it, a continuous event going around the year? Thank you. Also, I'm aware that X-Prize has this carbon-free, prices going around. Are we anywhere related to this? Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, we're doing a series of events with the UN. However, I think this call is actually focusing on the launch of this community platform. So if you have any specific questions on the events, feel free to send us an email at energycompact at seforall.org, and we'll get back to you with detailed answers. Okay. And okay, thank you, Sakshi. I see the question here. Wait, this is to the Sakshi, do you mind just read out the chat, the questions in the chat so I can just reply to them?
Sure. So this question is for Giacomo, if he's still around, about how FlexiDAO tracks data center consumption and supply production. And is there any third-party verification for generation and consumption?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, this is something that we have been developing during the past 7 years, so it's quite complex to explain in a few minutes. But we basically leverage our partnership with energy producers and our clients. So basically, and also we retrieve data from national data hubs. So it's something that we do leverage our partnership. But I'm very happy to answer this question and provide more details in private if the interested party will write me at my email.
Perfect. Thank you. John, there is a question for you about PowerLedger's presence in Africa and Nigeria, particularly. And there's a compliment about very interesting product features. And also, what is the digital footprint of this project?
Okay, so would love if my contact information is in there, so please feel free to add clarification around the digital footprint. I'm not exactly clear what you mean about that. So if you can either maybe provide some additional clarity, that would be great, or email me directly. With regard to Africa, yes, we are exploring projects in Africa. We don't have anything formal yet, but we are in conversations with a number of different organizations and individuals in a number of different countries. And I think Nigeria might be one of those countries. We do have a project in South Africa as well that I just need to look up a little bit more information on that one.
Thanks for that, John.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think a lot of questions we were able to answer on the chat itself. And if there are any other questions remaining, you all have our email address, so you can please reach out to us and actually use the community platform for our signatories. You can post questions there and, make sure that all the signatories have visibility and they can access that. I will finally hand over to Irina to close out the session with final remarks. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Sakshi. And first and foremost, many thanks to all our great speakers today. I think we had a very good discussion. And thanks to Nora and Sakshi as well for the session on the platform. I hope for all the signatories, you will explore the platform, you will look into it, try to see the best way that works for you. And as Nora mentioned as well, we need some leaders that will lead on the working groups. So please feel free to drop an email to us if you want to lead on any of the working group. I think it's very useful to exchange and to launch some opportunities through the platform. Let me remind you that the series of workshop is not ending today. So we have a series that is continuing for the whole year. The next one we are planning it for mid-April. And as actually reminded us before, we are trying to accommodate all different time zones. We are working between Europe, North America, and Asia Pacific. So next one will be focused on Asia Pacific. As always, we will be recording the session and we will include a slide in PDF form on our website, gocarbonfree.org. Please have a look at the website as well. And most importantly, we are working towards very big events this year. We have the upcoming Climate Ambition Summit, then UN-GA Assembly New York in September, and then there is, of course, COP28 upcoming. And we will be present there with our pavilion, with SE for All. We invite all the associations, organizations, private companies, and governments, cities that want to join us to please do it. Please join the 24/7 Carbon Free Energy Compact. And we will be very happy to showcase what you're doing on this sector and to bring you with us on our initiative at COP and also in ANGA. So that said, thank you very much. And I hope to see you at the next workshop. And thanks again to our great speakers today. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.